So your objective for today is you're going to be choosing a theme. This is for my year one students because be with me for 2 years, and you will be creating a minimum of 8 pieces for your IB exhibition. If you're a year two student, then just review this because it's going to be helpful for you to review your own thoughts and ideas and your own theme, as well as, considering especially the circumstances we went through last year. So, this is a video, so obviously I'm going to tell you at certain points to pause and go do your work and then come back to the video to continue on. So, first thing I want you to think about is Albert Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge. I want to know what you think he meant by this, and how do you feel about what he said? Do you agree, disagree, or both, and why? And I want you to write about that in the discussion for today. That piece that you're looking at is a Basquiat. I'll try to reference the names of the artists in the slideshow for your own knowledge. Okay, so let's get started. We'll worry about this later. For those of you who had me year one, you know what this is. This is where you turned things in last year. For year two, for my current year ones, that might need to require some tweaking. Okay, ignore the dates. So choosing your theme. All right, so what is a theme? The pieces of art on this page. On the right, we have Kara Walker. In the middle, we have Damselfrau or Imaginal Kennedy, the mask maker. And then on the left, we have Meow Cat, I think is what it's called, who makes installations. All right, so what is a theme? A theme is a topic that really interests you. Something that makes you feel passionate, something that makes you feel excited, something that fascinates you, and it probably is going to have some type of personal meaning for you or personal link. That top piece is Polly Noor. The piece on the left is Carlos Don Juan. It's Miss Don Juan's husband, or Miss Rodriguez. And then James Enzer on the bottom right. And the reason I'm including these pieces in this slideshow is because they are pieces that I am personally interested in and drawn to. And as we go through the slideshow, you'll see that there's a theme in the works that I've chosen because of my personal interest. So the steps you're going to go through today for choosing your theme are you're going to be brainstorming, evaluating, and then deciding on a theme. And that's as far as we're going to go today. This step of choosing other artists to be influenced by is actually going to be something that we're going to do a little bit later. Okay, so upcoming next, I have a slideshow of a few works, again, of artists that I'm interested in. And you can see the theme that goes throughout of these selections that I made. And then this would be a good time to talk about nudity in art and how we approach that as adults with maturity, and show that we can see nudity in art without having it become an issue. So on the right, that piece is Tracy Emin, and on the left, that piece is of course I'm going to blank on the name right now, Jenny Saville. So we can kind of already see a theme developing in the pieces that I've chosen for what I'm interested in, because they are in some ways all portraits. Not necessarily self-portraits, right? A self-portrait is when you do a portrait of yourself, but a portrait can be a portrait of anyone else. So all of these kind of have a portrait theme, maybe a self-portrait theme. None of these paintings are very representational. Maybe the Don Juan painting is the most representational of all of them so far. And we can see in these pieces, I would argue that piece on the right is a type of self-portrait as well, because Tracy Emin is talking about her emotional state and how she feels as a woman who, did or did not expect to be a mother, if you read it. And it's a quilt, so it's definitely a non-traditional self-portrait. And then Jenny Saville, a very non-representational portrait / self-portrait. And you can see with these artists that they are communicating more than just what we physically see To create a realistic painting would be something that is representational. These paintings are not representational because they're not realistic, and they're intending to communicate probably some type of internal state, so maybe emotions, or they're also communicating some type of concept. So that is the type of work that interests me more, that uses the techniques of painting or of fabric, textiles, or digital in our instance, which you can do digital painting and you can still incorporate fabrics into digital painting or digital design and work. But using the techniques and materials to represent internal feelings or concepts instead of just making something look representational. These pieces are Marlene Dumas. I'm pretty sure the left one is also Marlene Dumas, but I'm positive the one on the right is Marlene Dumas. And then here we have Gerhard Richter on the right. That piece is actually owned by the Fort Worth Modern. I'm pretty sure it's owned by them unless it was on rotation, but I've been there a couple times and I've seen it out. So you might be lucky on a visit there and see that piece in person. It's really beautiful. The Fort Worth Modern also has some Lucian Freud's. That's the painter in the middle. And then, of course, I can't remember the name of the artist on the left. She's a young, modern, soft sculpture person. But if you're interested, then I will definitely look her up and remind myself of her name. But again, we've got more non-representational portraiture going on, or as with Lucian Freud and Gerhard Richter, we're looking at like exaggeration of certain features to emphasize probably emotions, expression of emotions or concepts, and not so much worried about looking realistic. Same here with Egon Schiele on the right, and on the left, that's Maya Deren. She's actually an avant-garde filmmaker, but she has a lot of these themes going through her work. So you can also see with these examples that I've chosen, they're not limited to one media or medium. You know, I've got soft sculpture, I've got painting, I've got textiles, and I've even got a filmmaker. So these themes can transcend media. They can go across media. All right, so this is going to be your first step. First thing I need you to do is I need you to go to your Google Slides, whether it's through your school email or your Gmail, whatever works. I need you to go into your Google Slides and create a slideshow. If you don't know how to do this, this is where you pause the video, you hop back on Zoom Classroom, and I help walk you through it, or you email me and I walk you through it. But start a slideshow in Google Slides. This is going to be your process portfolio. So you can go ahead and title it Process Portfolio. We're going to be working on this slideshow for the entirety of the 2 years. So make sure you know where it's saved, what account it's saved to, and that you know how to get back access to it. This is a working document, so don't be worried about, sorry if you can hear the AC turning on. I hate that when I'm recording. Don't be worried about what you write in it to be set in stone. Obviously, it's a living document. It's a working document. We're going to be working on it over the next 2 years, and we won't be turning it into IB till about 1.5 years from now, a little bit longer maybe. So don't be afraid to type and write and paste pictures and whatever you want to document your ideas, because we can tweak and change it as we go. So in the first slide of your process portfolio, I want you to write down all subjects, themes, places, things, activities, or anything at all, issues, anything that matter to you, that you're passionate about, that you're excited about, things that you're thinking about on your own time, things that you're doing when you have free time, things that you're thinking about when no one is telling you what to think about or what to do. These are the questions and the things that are going through your head and the things that interest you when you are in control of your own time. Please do include topics that are unusual or challenging or controversial or inspiring or gritty, and absolutely things that fill you with passion. So if you have controversial interest, please don't omit it just because it's controversial. Those type of things actually lend themselves very well to being as a part of a theme, because you can explore controversial topics. So I've got a list on the right of some examples, because your themes can be conceptually based, like time, or they can be technically or physically based, like the concept of interiors. Like maybe you're like weirdly into furniture. I actually went to college with an undergrad with a painter who, she did her whole like thesis on paintings of weird compositions of furniture, and they were actually really beautiful. So whatever you're interested in, no matter how weird it might seem to you, or like even like inconsequential, like it doesn't matter, choose it anyway, because it can be physically based, like interiors, or trees, or plants, indoor plants, or it can be conceptual, like race, or power and corruption. Obviously, identity, poetry, nature, mythology, yourself. You could do a theme about yourself. There's definitely a wealth of information that you have with yourself. You can do a series about your dreams, tragedy, the concept of tragedy, urban life, anatomy, if you're one of my bio or science people, because I have quite a bit of y'all who are interested in science and math. Definitely explore math and science for themes. What interests you about those topics? Work life, it can be about storytelling if you're into narrative, or society, or the concept of metamorphosis, like the way butterflies, what happens to them when they're in a chrysalis or a cocoon and how they change. If you're into music, dance, or science, or gender, I mean, the list is really never ending. So what I want you to do now is pause the video, go create your slideshow in Google Slides, title it Process Portfolio, and in that first slide, create your list. And remember, this is just a brain dump. You are just dumping out onto that slide everything that matters to you, everything that interests you, everything you've ever had a question about or thought about for more than 2 seconds. Just dump it out on that slide. All right, we're back. So now you need to go and you need to evaluate your list. Because you just did a brain dump, some of those ideas are going to be better than others. So if you have any cheesy or cliche ideas, I want you to eliminate those. I'm trying to think of an example of a cliche one that I got last year. The thing is that something might appear to you to be cliche and shallow, but it's actually a rich wealth of information that you could do a theme on. Like an example that I have of something that might seem cliche or shallow would be like ice cream sundaes. But ice cream sundaes kind of relates back to like the furniture one. There's so many different types, and there's so many symbols within an ice cream sundae, like the flavors of the ice cream, the colors of them, the cherry on top, the whipped cream. You can explore those different physical things and explore them symbolically in a way that is extremely rich. You could have a piece that's an ice cream sundae representationally, where it just looks like an ice cream sundae. But then you could have another piece where you explore the symbols within the ice cream sundae. So I don't want you to just be like, oh my God, all of these are shallow ideas. No, I need you to just think deeply. Really think about symbols, think about concepts, also think about physical objects. Don't limit your thinking. As far as ideas that are cheesy, I really wish I could remember that example right now. I think what could be potentially problematic might be something like dogs, because dogs are like so commonplace in household. I wouldn't want to see a portfolio of like 8 portraits of cute dogs. That's lacking substance. If you were going to do and have your theme be dogs, we would have to go deeper and talk about, okay, well, what type of dogs, mean certain things socially? What social implications do certain dog breeds have, like pit bulls? We can get into society and politics and social structures by something as simple as a pit bull. So okay, so that was my example for a potentially shallow subject, which is not shallow at all. We can put our heads together and figure this out if there's something you're really passionate about. like horses or animals, and you're not sure how to make it deeper, we can have that conversation. Eliminate topics which are common or overdone. Like maybe like love. Maybe the concept of love could be your umbrella theme, but you're gonna have to be more specific in your sub themes underneath it, and we'll get to that. But most of all, when you're evaluating, ensure that the topic that you choose is something that you really care about and something that can sustain your interest for 2 years. Okay, that says 1 year because my year ones last year, we started this in second semester. But for my year ones this year, you're going to be doing this for the next 2 years. So that is what you need to evaluate. Is it something that you care about that can sustain your interest for 2 years? So pause the video and go do that now and do your evaluation. Okay, did I forget to list the names of artists? Oh man, I don't remember this guy's name. I follow him on Instagram though, so I can tell you what his name is. This is Degas. The top right is Yayoi Kusama, Louise Bourgeois in the middle, and then Letty Jane is an illustrator on the left. But you can still see that same theme that's going through all of them. Non-traditional self-portraiture, about deeper concepts than just representation. And if you know more of Yayoi Kusama's work, she creates these infinity rooms that kind of introduce the concept of surreality. So definitely still fits within that theme. All right, so your step now is to decide. And I'm going to walk you through the deciding steps as well. So you need to decide on a theme that in the way that you're going to know that it's good is it's going to keep you enthusiastic. You're going to be eager to create artwork about it. It's creative enough that you can create at least a minimum of 8 pieces about it. And this is the cool part for me as your teacher, is that it opens the door for you to become a quote unquote real artist, because real artists make art about what matters to them. You know, that's what real artists do. Even designers who are making products and designs for, companies that hire them, once you get past a certain point in your career, you're making what you care about and not just what someone's hiring you to do. And that's what I want to see y'all doing. I want to see y'all making artwork about something that matters to you. So these are the steps you're going to go through for deciding on your theme. First thing I need you to do is revisit your list. Go and decide if any of the items on your list relate to each other or can be grouped together. For example, let's say this is your list. Eyes, philosophy of self, mirrors, socially constructed sense of self, dreams, sight, hallucinations, water, or the Challenger Deep, which is the deepest area of the ocean. Say all of those things are things that interest you. And for me, if this were my list, I'm telling you it would be 10 times as long as far as the things that interest me. So if your list is 10 times as long, great. If it's half of that, you might need to add a little bit more, but hopefully you have at least that many things on your list. Okay, so now I'm going to look through my list and I'm going to see, I love all of those things. I don't want to have to choose one. Well, maybe there's a way you can choose an umbrella theme that is a one big unifying theme that the other ones relate to that can fit underneath it. So, for example, the theme of sight, eyeballs, mirrors, hallucinations, and dreams all relate to the concept of sight. So then sight would be my umbrella theme, my underlying theme, which I think I took this from a current senior. She chose something like this last year, and it was brilliant, and it's what made me realize we can do it this way. So she chose to design some pieces and look for inspiration about some pieces that dealt with like eyeballs and like portrayals of eyeballs in interesting ways. So you could create a piece about physical eyeballs, which also leads you down a path of anatomy, and then we're talking about science, and we can find ways to relate that back to the underlying or umbrella theme of sight. Mirrors relate to the concept of sight because we see our reflection in the mirror, and mirrors may not always be reliable and then we touch on other concepts of unreliability in our actual sight. Same with hallucinations. The concept that sometimes what we see with our eyes can be something that our brain is doing and that it's not actually physically there. Or dreams. Sometimes we see things in dreams that couldn't exist in the physics of the real world. So that is what I want you to do now. Pause the video and go back to your list and group ideas together that are related if possible, and choose an umbrella theme that they can all fit underneath. And if you're lucky, you'll have like 7 to 8 ideas underneath your main one, and then there's your 8 ideas for your 8 pieces you're going to create over the next 2 years. So pause the video, go do that, and then come back to the slideshow for the conclusion. All right, so we're going to skip these 2 slides for now because we're going to do that a little bit later, which is the actual planning out of your pieces. So at this point, if you have any questions, I want you to email me or pop back into my Zoom classroom at tinyurl.com/mirodesign, and I'll be there and I can help you out and walk you through anything that you feel lost about. And yeah, we'll look at those later. And at the end of class, this will be your exit ticket. I want you to go to the following link and fill out the Google form for your theme tracker. Actually, I'm going to probably have to change those links because these are different class periods now. So yeah, and pop back into the Zoom classroom where I'm going to give you a link where you're going to go and fill out a Google form for me so that we can track your themes, and that will be your grade for today for your exit ticket.